Back once again with Erika Brown, the publisher and editor of The Cricket. You guys should subscribe right now. I get it to my house every week, Erika.
You're the best.
Yeah. So what do we have going on these days?
Well, I think one of the more interesting, just feel-good stories comes out of Essex this week. It's the culmination of years of work, and it was about the building of a small 18-foot craft, the Garvey. It's a historic skiff, I believe it's called.
Yeah.
It's a flat-bottom utilitarian boat. And these students, these high school students from the Topsfield Vocational Academy, have been working quietly with two teachers. Mark Weber is their teacher, and the resident boat builder at the Essex Shipbuilding Museum is Jeff Lane. And the Essex Shipbuilding Museum actually, and Lowell's Boat Shop and Museum up in Newburyport, you know, they do a lot of things together. And this is one of them. They've been working together with these kids to build by hand this seaworthy 18-foot boat. And after 2 years, last week, they successfully launched it with 6 kids and their teacher, and off they went from the public boat launch in Essex. And it's a really interesting story. Do you know, have you ever heard of a Garvey?
No, I mean, yeah, but not enough to be like, oh, there's a Garvey.
Yeah. Well, I remember this very distinctly because Chris Stemple, who used to be at the at the Essex Shipbuilding Museum, and now he's at the Peabody Essex Museum, he described it, and I'll never forget it, as the Toyota Corolla of the seas in the 19th century.
They last forever?
They lasted forever. They were cheap, and they were easy to get around and to haul around, and they were incredibly utilitarian. And it was pretty much the primary use of like little quick transportation around the waters of Essex and all over Japan in the 1800s.
Very
and it's
cool.
called the Garvey, the Toyota Corolla.
Yeah.
So that's what these students did. And I've got to actually read this because I'll never forget. This isn't me, but the kids, here's what they did. They attached outwails, they fitted rails, they fitted the seats, they fiberglass, they primed and painted everything. I mean, they did everything by hand, to cutting, installing the seats, waterproofing and fiberglassing, and doing everything all by hand. It's a really nice story.
Very nice. Love that. Okay, let's talk baseball, Erika.
Yeah. How about so what is the oldest amateur league in the United States, local league? Do you know the answer?
Is it the Intertown Twilight League?
Yes.
Yeah.
It is. And it's one of those things where we're kind of lucky. I mean, first of all, Craig McCoy is a character in Manchester. He's a former longtime policeman, and he's the PR guy for the Inter Twilight League. And so that really makes it a great thing for a newspaper reporter to get it. But anyway, the Inter Twilight League's been around since 1909, and we're lucky because the whole league goes from Rowley up to Rockport, right? And then down to like Hamilton, Wenham, and Beverly.
Topsfield even back in the day too.
Yeah, it's a really big league. And the Manchester Essex Mariners, they play out of the Memorials Field in Essex. And it's just a really great way. They've gathered over the years ex-professional players, certainly college players. So the play is a really high level. And the Mariners, didn't they do quite well last year?
They're dynastic. That last year, I mean, that's all that was going on in the 80s and 90s. I remember. I think they did 20 straight years in the finals or close to it.
Yeah, they're really amazing. And we have a lot of what I love about the league is it really blends sort of the young up and coming talent, sort of the hot talent, with the established guys who've been around and are really, really good. And they can play for a really long time together.
It's just something really cool about heading over to Essex and just watching a ball game.
And it's a great game to watch, and it's easy. I think they're 2 games into their season. I believe. And if I got that wrong, I really apologize. But it's just a guaranteed great time, and it's really worth it. So
yeah,
something we should do more on that. We'll get some more pictures.
Yeah, let's talk about that. Okay, lastly, Erika, what's going on with Chebacco Road?
Oh yeah, we have town meeting is tonight. It's the solstice, and our outdoor meeting in Manchester is happening tonight. There isn't a lot of critical business or things that would inspire, we've said this before, long debates, because Alan Wilson, our moderator, wanted to keep that until the fall. Because who knew what the pandemic and social distancing would be like. So he didn't want to have a really long meeting. But they are going to be deciding about moving Chebacco Road, which is Chebacco Road goes along Gravelly Pond, which is our water supply, and it heads to Chebacco Lake and then over into Hamilton, and we kind of share that with Wenham, Hamilton, and Manchester. It's where it all comes together, really, is Chebacco Road. It also happens to be Chebacco Road's where our town dump is. Oh, I'm sorry, transfer station. Anyway, so we're going to be voting. The town of Hamilton came to Manchester, I don't know, about 6 weeks ago or 2 months ago. They went to the BOS and they asked to basically move Chebacco Road. And it's kind of interesting. It's going to be moved to actually go to the original place of the road before it was moved. I guess it had been moved, I'm going to say in the 80s or the 70s. And if I'm wrong, I apologize. But they're going to move it back and realign it. So there's going to be big changes over in that area if it passes tonight. So we'll have to see. I expect it to pass. I don't think it'll be a problem.
Interesting stuff. Okay, Erika, and lastly, if people want to subscribe to the Cricket, how can they do that?
Well, here's the thing. The truth is, they can go to thecricket.com and they can just get the news. We have a very generous policy for our paywall. So you can sort of just tune in and without sort of subscribing or paying anything, you just sort of tune into what's going on in town. And then if it's something that you find yourself tuning into more than 5 times a month, then you can subscribe.
All right, good points all around. Thanks once again for your time, Erika. We'll see you next week.
Bye, Corey.